Hi, Marilyn O'Malley here. And I had a client the other day who came in and she was sharing with me uh, how she literally felt a change in her personality and a change in her perspective um, of of her energy going to the next level, her awakening. She was experiencing a change in her from her living in a much more dense, struggling energy into the new energy. And when she was telling me that, I was like, wow, I should share that with you, share that with others so that you, number one, know you have something to look forward to. And number two, you can see, am I waking up or am I still asleep? So some of these things I'm going to spend some time with, a little bit of time with, and some I'm just going to brush over because I could clump some of these together, but I wanted to um, give you a good visual. So I have 20 things listed here, and let's start. And I'm going to try to do it as don't want to take up a lot of your time, but I want you to be checking these off as we go and see how you're doing on it. And then you can also choose areas that you want to work on. So the first one is oneness versus duality. So duality is, yin yang, good, bad, physical, non-physical, etc. It's the opposites, one side versus the other side. And oneness is when we become one with a whole experience. Deepak Chopra says, a coming together of all opposites. So when you're in that oneness, when you experience the oneness, you you feel like you lose track of time and you're in that awe and wonder. So maybe it's like when you're watching a sunset. Maybe I get this when I meditate sometimes, and I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like out in the middle of space and I'm just filled with love, and there's nothing else going on. I am just one with everything. It might be when a child was born. There's all different ways that we can experience this. Creating a piece of artwork where we lose track of time. And other words for oneness might be the unified field, pure consciousness, God, source. So whatever you might call that, you feel a deep connection to it. And a couple other things with as a result of feeling oneness would be you have faith. You have more faith in that bigger that the oneness in the unified field, and versus feeling disconnected. So you don't feel disconnected anymore, because once you experience that, you understand I'm connected to everything. It helps, and the more time that you spend with that, you cannot disconnect from it. So once you know that truth in your body, in your DNA, and in your cells, then you will never feel alone again. And the other thing is that part of oneness, you have more compassion versus being critical and judgmental of yourself or others. Just with that, you just see yourself in everything. You see yourself in everybody. And then the other is you're more inclusive rather than exclusive. So you understand that we all come from the same thing, and we're all connected. So whatever we do to ourselves or to others affects everybody. And so if we're here for the greatest good of all, then we would manage our lives and our minds and our actions and our heart in ways that are supportive of everyone. Okay, so the second one is you live more in the now versus living in the past or the future. So you're much more in the present moment, because you're aware you're more conscious. So when you are awakened, you are choosing to be more in the now because of you're choosing because you're more empowered. You feel more empowered to be choosing what it is that you want. And when you do that versus what you fear, so you are choosing to not be in fear, which is created in the future or the past. So when you play in the now, you're also playing in that oneness. And let me see what the next one is. So you spend more time, well, and this is what you spend more time experiencing love versus fear. So again, all of these are interconnected, as you can start to see. When you're in the now, you're more connected to that oneness, and you have more faith in your connection to everything, and you're more empowered, and so you're not going to play around in fear anymore. And when you're connected to that oneness, you feel the love. You can't help but vibrate and know that unconditional loving energy. So the next thing is your awareness is multidimensional, which means you're integrated, you draw in information from several sources, versus one-dimensional, which is old school, and it's like the single cause or single solution. So you're playing with sight, taste, knowingness, your feelings, your intuition, and you're more attuned when you're playing in that oneness. When you're awake, you're more attuned to everything that's going on around you, right? You can sense things. It's not just by thinking about them. You're using your senses and your intuition to give you information. You understand that oneness field is full of information for you. And so you start to use that. And again, that's when you start feeling more connected, more awake, you're receiving information. And this takes you to the next thing, that you're more in flow and have inner peace versus struggle. So when all of that's happening, then you can see, because you're using all your senses, and you feel that connection and that love, then you don't feel that fear, and you don't have to struggle. You know, when you have that faith and you're using all of your senses and energy, and you're connected, then there's not a lot to be afraid of, and so you don't have to struggle. And you understand that if there is some struggle or challenge, that it's there to reflect back to you, because you're using your senses. It's there to reflect back to you where there's something for you to become more awake about, and to maybe make a new decision on that. So the next one is you live more from your intentions versus living other people's expectations or out of habit. So this is all around owning your own power. So when you're awake, you understand that you are responsible for creating your world with this oneness. And so then when you learn that, then you're like, oh, and really wrap your head around that, then it's like, oh, I need to be deciding for me what it is that I want. And you realize how much you've been living asleep, out of habit. When I mean asleep is it's almost robotic. You're on autopilot. You get up every morning, do the same thing over and over, brush your teeth with the same hand, go through the same routine, think the same thoughts, feel the same feelings, and come home, do the same things, go to work. It's just like this routine. You're in a routine, which is a rut. And so when you are awake, you're not in that routine anymore, because you're open to new experiences, and you're defining your life. You're in your power, choosing what do I want, being much more conscious about how you spend your time, where do you spend your time, who do you spend your time with. what you want your environments to be like, what you want your life to be like, and you start playing in that oneness, playing in that, in your power to create that life that you are now conscious that you want to create. You are more authentic, honest versus being formulated or people pleasing. You know that it is self-sacrificing for you to be anything else other than what you're here to be, and who you are, and really honoring yourself. And so you have much more an idea about who you are when you are awake, and what really matters to you. So you're also, because of that, you're more comfortable being in your body. So you're not spending time out of your body. You understand that to manifest here, to live your mission, to do what you're here to do, and because you're connected to everything, you know how to process. You're learning how to manage your mind and your thoughts so that you are not overwhelmed, overstimulated, in so much pain because of all your empathy, that you know how to be in your body, fully in your body, living your mission and creating here. The next thing is that you have faith. I think I already talked about that one. Hang on. I did. Own your power. You own your power versus feeling powerless or giving it away. So that's for the people pleasers, perfectionists, and others who always thought that others had more power than them. That's one thing that you discover, is we're all our own personal power. We're all individuals. We're all unique. We're all here for our own purpose. We're not to be living anybody else's purpose or path. You collaborate versus doing it all alone. When we're awake, we're in this new world and stuff, we're all working together for a common cause, for the highest good of all concerned. And so, before you were it's more competitive, and feeling competitive, feeling you have to do it on your own. And this way it's like, no, you're here to create with others. And it's really exciting and fun, and you're playing in that field together, which is very exciting. So I said about being more compassionate, critical. So, we're more in a healing state versus destructive state. We're serving versus taking or breaking down. So we're more aware about healing ourselves, healing the things that the wounds in us that will uplift us, that will give us our true value, learning our truth, and taking away the things that are the thoughts and the conditioning that we had as a child that are limiting us, that are keeping us more asleep, feeling weak and powerless, and feeling as victims. So we're accepting, when you're awake, you're more accepting of what is versus worrying about it, because you understand it's all a process, it's in time. You can have control over how you show up with anything. So it is allowing you to say, okay, this is what's happening now, and then from this place, connect it, using all your senses, being in your power, taking responsibility, and trusting all your instincts. Then you can make new choices, and either how to solve that challenge, problem, or whatever is showing up, and trusting that there's something there for you to know, and that the quantum field and the bigger power, the power that is bigger than us, knows more than we do. So sometimes new things are coming in different packages that worry we don't understand. And that's where the faith comes in. I am that I am versus I'm not enough or worthy. So again, like knowing that you are from everything. You are from that oneness. You were created out of that oneness, that you are whole, creative, deserving, you are enough, versus the opposite. And we have when you're awake, you have a deep connection to nature versus nature isn't important to you. Yeah, your Mother Earth becomes a lot more important and to you, and your time that you spend is important, that you spend time in nature because it nourishes you. You're drawn to inspiring and positive people versus unconscious bad behavior and negative people. You just start deleting the things out of your life that don't feel good anymore, that don't feel in the flow, don't feel awake, don't feel congruent with where you're going now and what you're doing. So you will start to recreate or bring in new people, new places, new events, new circumstances. And then the last one is you feel more uplifted and expanded versus stuck in heaviness. So yeah, with all of that you just feel lighter. You feel there's opportunity, possibilities. You know, it's just part of the process, part of life's journey when you get this, and that it feels rich and creative and connected and powerful. And it's exciting. And so I hope this list will help you. I know we're going to create a list of these for people to, you can print out if you want. Until then, I hope that you find your way to awakening even more, because it just creates more richness in your life. So until we meet again, love, live, and matter. Bye.